I've been using this Marlin Model 795 to compete in two-gun rimfire challenges, shooting matches where you use a rifle and a pistol. And this one recently did 400 rounds, about 400 rounds in a match, and didn't have any issues at all. But I need to clean it because to get ready for the next match. I switched over to using this polymer-coated ammunition from CCI. It has a plastic coating on the lead bullet, and that reduces the amount of junk that fouls up the gun in the action. And it really works. It helps keep the gun clean. So I'll pivot down here to this gun here. We'll have to take it apart. These require a tool, an Allen key. This one's a 9/64 to take the gun apart. And I guess you don't really have to do this. It's just, I just like to do it because I want to take a look in there. Sometimes you see things that surprise you. So with that out, I can get rid of the stock here. And here's the trigger mechanism. Get that out of the way. Now, there's a pin back here. You can pull this pin and get the assembly out of here. It just slides right out. You can see it's not very dirty at all after 400 rounds, and it was still functioning flawlessly, but it's a good idea to clean it to keep it so. The one thing you have to make sure when you remove this bolt here is not to bend the spring. It has a guide here, but it's pretty easy to bend the spring if you're not careful. So I'm just going to go through and show you what I do to clean this gun up. Just use a paper towel here and wipe off all the dirt. I really don't like to use a lot of oil. I don't like to have the guns all oiled up and greasy. I prefer just to have them clean and lightly lubricated. So I'll clean the bolt and paying attention to this area right here. This is where a lot of the dirt will be. In fact, I think I'm going to have to go get a brush to clean this. I went and got a brush so I can clean this bolt better. I put a little of this solvent on there. It's a residual gunpowder. It's a good idea to get rid of that because it'll just encourage more to build up there. I like to keep the gun clean because it functions better that way. So I've got it, most of it brushed off of there. And then I also use compressed air. You have to, make sure you have safety glasses on because you don't know what you're gonna disturb and get airborne, but I like to use some air to encourage that to get out of there. So I got the bolt pretty clean, and then here's the buffer assembly here. I had to replace one of these not long ago, and so I'll keep an eye on it. Surprisingly, sometimes these break. I think what happened on one of them, I was using brake clean for a while, and I think it did something to the plastic. So I no longer use the brake clean. I'm pretty careful about that now. But here's a spot also where the bullets are forced up into the barrel. I'd like to get that area too. You can see there's some buildup in there. And then in the bore, in the rifle barrel, I just use what's called a bore snake, and just run a few passes through there. But I think with the ammunition I'm using, I doubt the barrel is very dirty at all. But I do like to keep it clean at the breech here where the bullets come in, because that's the most important part here. But you can see there is a little debris down in there, so I put a drop of the solvent in there and go to town on it. And they have I compete every month in a match, so get some time to clean the gun and maybe hopefully get a chance to practice once or twice before the next match happens. Okay, so got that cleaned out. Now I'm gonna here's the bore snake. Basically got like a parachute cord on it looks like a shoestring sort of, but it has some wire bristles embedded in there. What you do is you just drop that down. You're supposed to clean the gun from the where you load it, not the barrel, from the breech. So I get it started in there like that, and then I just put some solvent. I wick it right onto the material there and pull it on through. And I usually just do it one pass because it's probably all it needs. Looks pretty clean to me. I can look down the barrel and looks super clean. So now I'm going to put it back together. I'll clean the spring off here and this little pin, get rid of that, whatever's on there. Here's the bolt. So this is the part where you have to have some care, where you're putting this recoil spring in. Right here is where you can bend it if you get it in a bind. So the spring goes in this little hole here. So I kind of hold it straight. And once this rod, you can see there's a rod inside of here, right here. Once you get the rod into this part, it's pretty much, it won't allow the spring to bend, but if it's out in here and you let it flex, it can bend. So that's one point you need to be careful of. So here's the end of the rod, and I just guide the spring into it, straight into it, and force it back on there, and then drop it down. So now it's in and it's straight. So now I just have to put the charging handle in. And so what I do is I use my thumb right here on this piece, pull back slightly and let it open up a little. And I can drop the charging handle in there. So now the charging handle's in. And so I can go ahead and put in the trigger assembly and the hammer. This just simply drops in like that. And there's just one pin that holds it right here. That's in. And then it's just a matter of assembling the gun. So I put there's this little release here. You have to kind of snake that into position. And then you drop in the trigger assembly here. And it also has, with this release here, you have to put it in at an angle. And then it goes in. There's a long screw and a short screw, and I guess the long screw goes in the back. You'll know because if you get it in the wrong spot, the short screw will just drop right in and won't have anything to bite. And again, I'm using the 9/64 hex here. And these don't have to be super tight. See. And then I usually put a drop of oil right in here on the bottom here. I use this rim oil. That looks like the friction points. I just put one little drop there. And I like to lock the bolt open when I'm done with it so I know it's safe. And then I'll also use a little wax on it. I like to use a little wax to protect the barrel. So I just use Johnson paste wax here. And that way if you handle the gun and your hands are wet or sweaty, it won't really damage the bluing. It basically protects the finish. And if this was a wood stock, I would put the wax on the wood, but since it's a plastic stock, I really don't do anything at all on the plastics. Just keep it clean. And then I wipe it with a towel here. And so now the Marlin 795 is ready for the next match. So that's all there is to cleaning the Marlin 795. I guess you could go into more, take it fully apart and everything, but I might do that once a year or whenever it looks like it needs it, but it looks very clean. I just want to maintain its operation without a lot of hassle, and it's pretty easy to do.